Bitcoin has continued to show some weakness. Altcoins, obviously, that means showing even more weakness than Bitcoin. Is this an opportunity? Are we about to fall off a cliff, die, it's over, new bear market? Or is this a time to start trying to catch some falling knives? We're going to take a look at the charts. Of course, it's Trading Alpha. I've got Wick here. Now, he's the main host at this point. I'm just the passerby watching and observing and learning, but I'm going to try to help along today. Let's go.
Let's go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Going to bring on Wick right now, and we're just going to get after it. It's been kind of a few weeks since I've been here with you, man. Maybe even longer.
I know. I think that's what the problem is, Scott. I think you walked away from the show and the market just kind of, lost interest.
Well, if you go on Twitter, it's always some influencer's fault, right? So I guess it can be me this time. Why not? But listen, let's just dive right into it, man. It's interesting here. A lot of weakness in the crypto market, obviously, showing your Bitcoin chart here, but doesn't seem to be echoed in the stock market. So Amazon made a new fresh all-time high today,
which is interesting, right? That's what everyone's noticing, is that little dislocation from the stock market, which is very, very interesting. So let's talk about crypto land. Let's get into Bitcoin here. Everyone has been crying for a week straight, and we can see here why on the daily chart of Bitcoin. So you guys can see that I have two channels here, two downward channels, and coincidentally, they both happened right near the top of the resistance, and they all happened with topping signals, right? So we can see why we've had some issues here. You can see here that the ones that are circled in white, right? These ones are confirmed tops. What does that mean? A lot of times we'll have topping signals, but if the next two bars do not close below the wick, it is not a confirmed top. And the only ones that have done that are the ones that we have circled. And you can see that these all happen near the all-time highs. And what do we get? We get another fractal of this right here. In fact, this channel right here, I just actually cloned it. It's got the same parameters and moved it over here, and it's form fitting pretty well. Okay. So again, I think we're just having the same pattern play out. I'm not getting very bearish. In fact, I think that this support that we've been having between these two levels is a super, super pivotal support. And basically on the midterm, because you must remember, we're talking midterm, we're not talking long-term outlook here. This is still midterm on the daily chart. Okay. This is your swing traders that are opening trades for days to weeks to maybe 3 months. Okay. So for you guys here, we are basically having the bears versus the bulls. And what is the bear argument and the bull argument? Well, the bear argument is that we have this downward channel, okay, that has been validated, okay, and we're fighting a downward channel. And the bullish argument is that this is super strong support. I mean, look at how many times this touched, starting from right here, having a reaction, touching it again, having a reaction, touching it again. These two areas are basically the biggest support on the whole chart. Okay, so that's what we're facing, is the downward channel versus the very strong pivotal support that we're having. Okay, but let's take a minute and let's zoom out, right? I know this is not giving anyone much clarity. Okay, so that's when I like to zoom out to the weekly chart. And this is the same chart that I've had up for quite a long time. And, we went through the bull market over here, went through a bear market just to catch you up, and then the bull market over here. Okay, but where are we right now? And it's of my opinion that we're simply just in a stage 3 basing pattern, which I've told people, right? So you start off a normal cycle in a stage 1 basing. This is a consolidation. Okay, this is right after you get your bear market, right? So you're not buying anything as long as you're below the track line. We're consider this a stage 4. Get the hell out of town. Don't buy anything here. But we start seeing little bottom signals. But when we start seeing bottom signals in a stage 1, when it starts to go sideways for a while, that's what we're looking for. And we'll find some charts later on that show this setup that we're currently having. We get green dots after bottom signal. This is the first confirmed bottom we have on the chart, and it starts your stage 2 uptrend. Okay, so we start your stage 2 uptrend, go through a stage 3 basing pattern, squeeze shading, break out to the upside, and now we're basing again. I believe this is simply just a bullish basing before the next up leg. And if you want me to show you what I'm comparing this to, guys, I'm comparing this to 2017. In fact, you can see that pink horizontal line on my chart, sorry, that vertical line on my chart. This is pretty much the same place we are in the cycle if we had to compare it to 2017. And a lot of people have talked to me about, hey, you know, John, on the weekly chart, we see that the green dots have actually stopped. You know, that's fine. That means that the stage 2 uptrend that we had is over, and that's okay. That's not the bull market. In fact, here's a stage 2 on the weekly chart in 17, and look what happened over here, right close to where we are right now. It touched the track line, lost green dots, had one of our setups, green dot off of the track line, which then started, and the dots did not stop the whole cycle. Okay, so that's one of my arguments for what I think is happening right now. I think we're having the same thing where we're having a pullback. Okay, we had a pullback just then. You can see that the dots have stopped for the last 2 weeks. But again, I think we're simply just in this stage 3 basing pattern before we simply break out to the upside. Okay, so now let's look at some things that can maybe give us some hopium. Okay, before we get to Ethereum and Solana, I know you guys see this. You want some hopium, Scott?
I need a good hit. Yeah, these days.
Okay. Let's try and gather some hopium here. So for those of you that know what this chart is, or don't know what this chart is, should I say, this is the chart of basically the ISM. This is how everyone looks at the business cycle. So if you watch Raul's framework or seen him on Scott's show, this is what they are all watching as far as watching the liquidity index and how they are measuring it. And this lines up with Bitcoin perfectly. As you can see here, in 2021, it's starting the bull market right when Bitcoin did, and you can see here too in 17 we had the 17 bull market. Okay, but what I want to talk about specifically is these green dots on here and where we are in the liquidity cycle. Okay, so it was looking good. We had the bear market. We had all the red dots going down below a red track line. We started to bottom and base. This is exactly what we want to see, right? And then it starts breaking out above that little 50 mark. Okay, this is where we call it the bull market is starting, right? Especially in the liquidity cycle. But we have now flipped to red dots. Okay, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of weakness in all these assets. Maybe not stocks, but definitely crypto. But now if you go to 2017, where we think that we have been anyways because of fractals, okay, we had the same thing happen in 17. We went from red dots to green dots, little quick couple weeks with red dots, and then the bull market just ignited. Okay, so this is also why I am bullish, and I want to bring some little hopium to you, because what else do we also know that happened in 2017 when this market melted up? Well, a guy named Donald Trump won the presidency, and he changed a whole bunch of policies, which we know that if he wins again, big if, but if that guy happens to win again, we already know what his policy is going to be. It's going to be very easy on trade policy and economic policy. And pretty much this is another reason why I think we get exactly the same year. We got exactly the same macro politics playing out in the background. The price action has been the same up until this point. We've already seen it on Bitcoin, pulling down to that same place that we've seen in 2017, right? We had a little pull down here, lost the green dots. I think that we're lining up perfectly, Scott. So that's my hopium for you guys today. Everything is just lining up and rhyming so well. What do you think about that, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. And we know sort of the 4-year cycle in crypto, the election cycle, the liquidity cycles. As you said, if you listen to Raul or any of these guys, they line up every single time. I just think we're in this boring lull of a summer, which you pointed out in 2017 as well. I mean, it's, I guess it would have been 16, but it's just the same thing.
No, absolutely.
We overanalyze it, but we always hit some sort of high, not usually a new all-time high at the halving, but then we just kind of chop around all summer. People capitulate because they are bored, and then we go up when they're gone.
Exactly, right. When everyone's out of this market, right? So I think when we had that final dip here where the pink dots is, we had a dip here without the dots. That's when we shake the rest of the market out. It gets so thin, then it doesn't need as much buying pressure to really ignite it, right? So I think that's where we're at. Let's move on to Ethereum. I think we spent enough time on Bitcoin, but again, long term, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. However, as far as swing trading and investing goes right now, there are no setups. Looking here at Ethereum weekly chart, right? It's very interesting. I just wanted to point this out to you guys because I'm a technical nerd and there's not much happening this week. But if you notice in the weekly chart here, when we're comparing it to Bitcoin, right? And you guys can see this very easily if you go to the Bitcoin ETH pair, right? But if you actually want to see the dynamics of how it plays out and understand it, we're having relative strength here in Ethereum. What do I mean by that? Well, we pulled down to these lows all the way just below the track line, right? And then we have this bounce up and now we're pulling down with the market. But most of the market, if we look at Bitcoin, is down back at its lows, right? If we look at the weekly chart on Bitcoin here, right? Should I have my scaling set here? We're back right at the lows that we were. However, Ethereum, right, is not even close to being at its lows, right? It's still stuck at this support above it. So Ethereum is showing relative good strength right now. I know a lot of the talk is whether people want to pick Ethereum or Solana going forward. Right now, Ethereum is showing the relative strength. You know, in my opinion, I think both of these things are going to rocket. You definitely want to own both of them, in my opinion. But right now, Ethereum is showing that relative strength. That said, guys, I do not want to discount the fact that if you go and you pull up a monthly chart on Solana, I'm going to ask Scott what this pattern looks like before I say it, but this is what the pattern is currently showing.
Cup and handle. You can draw a little cup of coffee in there, a little top, some steam coming out. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. My drawings are not as nice as Scott's, right? I'm the
pretty good.
But look,
it's pretty good.
But look, you guys, if this simply breaks out right there, this is a pattern completion that has been forming ever since 2021. And for those of you that don't know, a cup and handle is one of the most bullish patterns you can get next to a head and shoulders. So not completed yet. I just want to say that 95% of this pattern on the monthly chart has played out on a very, very large macro time scale chart. So again, if we do get such a blimp and we break those all-time highs, baby, that's just not all-time highs with no overhead resistance. It's also completing a cup and handle on the monthly chart.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, so moving on from that, guys, let's go ahead and let's do something fun now. Let's go ahead and I've got a few chart requests here. Thank you guys for putting that up there. And let's find a few things ourselves. And you can see that I've already started looking here. But this is the new Trading Alpha Screener to be out sometime this month.
Come on, we need it. We need it now.
I'm working on it. So today, just a little nerd note, I actually asked the guys because I like the 6-hour time frame. If you could add the 6-hour here, not a big deal, not a big feature, but man, I'm geeking out. I'm basically making this for me to trade, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. But okay, so if we pick cryptocurrencies, let's go ahead and pick the daily time frame. And this time, let's go down to weekly highs and lows, right? And let's look for something that's made in the last 4 weeks that it's at its highest weekly bar on the chart, showing a little bit of relative strength. Is there anything like that in the market right now? Okay, well, not much. There's actually only 2 assets, but let's go and see what they look like, right? So let's go and see what has a little bit of relative strength and what the screener is picking out for us as far as 4-week highs. Okay, so this is something I wanted to point out to you guys. I have looked at this beforehand. This is Shadow USD. I don't know anything about this coin, whether it's a good coin or not. I'm just showing you the chart and giving you an example of how to use the screener. We're going through a stage 4 downtrend here, guys. Everything is red on the chart. We finally go below a track line because there's enough data to pull the track line in now. And then we start going sideways in a basing pattern, right? When we do this basing pattern right here, okay, and we start getting bottom signals, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is how we caught the very low in Bitcoin, okay? You look for these stage 1 basings, and the bottoms are specifically happening in stage 1, okay? So now we're getting another squeeze shading and a breakout arrow, okay? And why isn't it following through? Well, simply because the market is not strong enough. But I believe if the market was strong enough, this would be an asset right here that even from a macro perspective of going down so much is really primed to break out here. And we are seeing everything now switch from red to green. And of course, green dots after a bottom is a confirmed bottom. Okay. So again, nothing can happen on charts like this until the market kind of gets a little bit of breath again. But this is something that is really, even on a weak market, is showing you the dynamics are starting to change. And again, we caught that from the Trading Alpha Screener. Let's go ahead and have one more screen. Let's go look for one more thing. Okay, so let's put this away. Let's clean this up. And okay, so let's look for dots on the daily time frame, same time frame. And we want a 1 dot just starting, something that's just starting its trend. Scott's ears are popping up. He's like, okay, this looks like magic.
1 dot. I like this because I haven't used it yet because somebody won't share it with me.
I'm getting it to you. I'm getting it to you. I promise you.
I'm not naming
This week you'll get it. We'll get it. Okay. So here we are looking on the daily chart. And okay, so let's go over this. All right, let's go over this a little bit. So this is a fetch. This is actually an asset that I'm in and out of myself. In fact, we had some great runs. If I believe we had some bottom signals catch this long before. Yep, exactly. So I had a. So this is one of that I've been in and out of with Vinny here, Scott. And he caught this bottom, a confirmed bottom signal, and caught most of this up move here. Okay, but we have been out of this, I think, since the dot stopped, which was right around here somewhere. Anyways, long story short, it's one thing that I also want to point out looking at this chart that I can teach people that have the alpha bundle already. Okay, so do you see how we have B's here? And you also have a B here. Nice. So there's your first dot that the screener just caught. Okay, this is just a side note. Okay, you see how we have B's here and a B here, and how I've been teaching you guys the stages, the stage 2 uptrend to then stage 3 basing, stage 4 downtrend, and you always want to see these B's close to a stage 1 basing. Okay, so you want the price action to come down quite a bit. So me seeing these B's, okay, wouldn't have been after completion of what I call a stage 4. Okay, so just letting you know how I think. But this one over here is very interesting. Now we have the whole cycle: stage 2 uptrend, stage 3 basing, stage 4 downtrend, and now we're putting in a little bottom pattern here and confirming a bottom. So again, even with a weak market, we see here Fetch is having quite a phenomenal day actually in a weak market like this, and printing its very first green dot that we found via the screener. Okay, so that'll be coming up, guys. And then let's see, let's get to our chart requests. We only had 2 of them, so let me go over these. One of the people asked me about SUI, and I have been watching this very closely because all the macro guys are talking about this could be the next one next to Solana possibly, right? I'm sure you guys have heard that. I don't like this chart at all, to be honest with you. You have a double top here after the double top, and let's see something. Oh, there you go, Scott. That's for Scott right there. Look at how horrible that bearish divergence is.
Brutal.
Oh my God.
Brutal.
Okay.
I mean, they're everywhere. They
Scott,
were everywhere.
I know how to excite Scott. See?
Yeah.
Okay, so here you go, guys. For those of you thinking, say, hey, what are you talking about? You have price action that's clearly going and making higher highs, and over here you have price action that's clearly okay. Well, if we go into that more, if we let's see, take that off. I'm messing things up here. You can clearly see that this is a higher high and a lower high over here. So that's called bearish divergence. This is one of Scott's favorite strategies. And after that, what do? We don't even go from losing green dots. We go right to red dots. This is stage 4 downtrend. And now we're breaking below the track line. We could even find support at the track line, which would have been your previous pivotal logical support right there, in my opinion. Breaking below it right now. Very horrible sign, guys. I wouldn't buy this at all. So whoever asked me about this, if you're still in this, I would honestly, I can't give you advice what to do. If I was still in this, I'd get the hell out of Dodge. Okay. We're also looking here at RSI. Yeah, and RSI too, another little trick that I have for you guys is normally in bullish markets, RSI will spend the majority of its lifespan above the midpoint, okay? So when it starts going below and correcting, this is normal. When it starts going below the midpoint and spending a little bit too much time below that midpoint, that's also a bad news bears sign, okay? Let's go to the last one here, FTM. Someone asked me about FTM. FTM is also one that I've been in a few times, not too much. Yeah. It's one of those ones that always had a lot of promise, right? And just never, ever got back to where it was. Okay, so talking about here, you can see I already have this charted up here because I've already traded this. So this to me was our stage 1 basing, a very wide basing pattern. Okay, you can see here I've drawn a line in the sand for where stage 2 starts, and it did break out into stage 2 and shortly after fizzled out. And this is where I definitely lost interest, where it couldn't even make a higher high. It made a lower high. Okay, so that is a bearish sign, showing you a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength. You don't want that. Okay. So now he's asking me, okay, Wick, what do I think about this chart? I hate this chart. This chart has now fallen back into stage 1 basing, not even just wick below it. It's closed into the stage 1 basing from which it broke out. It couldn't even hold that stage 2 breakout support again. Okay. So I really hate this chart, and it's got 2 red dots and forming now a red bar. You know, Scott's really laughing. I don't want to go any
There's
longer.
not many charts to like. No, I mean, it's just that time of the market, right?
Yeah. So don't get me too excited, guys. There's not much to buy right now. You know, as all the guys are saying, stay in the large caps. If you have to stay in something, stay in the large caps, Bitcoin, Ethereum, possibly Solana, if you're on the Raw Powell and Wick train. But yeah, that's it for today, Scott. That's what I got. We just got to wait and let this sideways market fizzle out, man. Let's
Yeah,
hope
but
this
we
support
forgot to
holds.
tell them the indicator that you're using.
Oh, yeah, guys. I get so excited about charting for y'all. If y'all do want these indicators, they are literally the best edge you have in the market when it comes to TA. I've been doing this for 20 years. Hop onto our sites or hop onto the comment section right there, and you'll see our site little link. Click on that site, and when you go and find the alpha bundle is what you want to look for, all these indicators. Go for the yearly, and when you're checking out, type in 25 off on the left-hand side, and it'll drop the price by 25%. You'll also get access to our Discord, our VIP Discord. And I wanted to show you something real quick, Scott. For those of you guys that are in our Discord, also don't ever forget that we do have these bots that run. And Scott, I haven't even shown you these, but every 4 hours, they print basically what we think is happening on the weekly charts, on the daily charts, on the 4 hour and the 1 hour.
The angry bear, man.
That is a very angry bear, very angry bear that is used for a top-down look. So you can look to see, listen, if you're trying to make a trade on the daily charts, or let's say you're trying to make a trade on the 4 hour chart, and the 4 hour looks okay, but you look at the daily and the daily is a bearish chart, this means you're trading against the trend. You don't want to go long when the time frame above you is bearish. So this was the whole point of this, is to make sure that whatever time frame you're trading on,
dumb it down.
Yeah, dumb it down. But yeah, that's it for today, Scott. That's all I got, and that's where you get the
25% off, guys. Look, this is what it looks like there. See, it's even got my picture on it. I got my picture on there by doing these shows. I bought my way into the photos. I have an important question for you. How do you pronounce this word?
The wrong way. Fidelity.
Fidelity. Okay, whatever. Fuck, man. Because I said fidelity, and I've been getting yelled at, and then a guy from Fidelity told me it was fidelity. And
no, it's fidelity, man. That's not fidelity. That's Yank talk.
Whatever. I suck at words. All right, man. That's all we got for you guys today. Buy the bundle. Don't listen to my pronunciations. Fidelity. Great. It's become the meme on this show, unfortunately. Fidelity. But nobody else has said fidelity, so I suck. All right. Thank you so much. We'll be back, I'm assuming, next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll catch you next week. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Thanks, Justin. Bye.
Bye.